I hope everyone's having a good start to the holiday. Since school's been closed, we've been working really hard to get all of the spaces ready for September. So today I thought I'd make a short video just to show you some of the key areas in school and in the playground so you know what to expect when it's time to come back. When we arrive at school, you'll notice that along the fence line we have these hazard tape markings, and those are to help us to line up along Broad Oak Lane in a socially distanced way. And if I come back, you can see that when you reach the school gate, we now have some hearts painted on the floor. You will move down into the playground area and stop here. Now, at this point, there'll be a member of the senior leadership team, and we'll ask you to send your year 3, 4, 5 and 6 children down behind me through the passageway into the junior playground, and at that point they will be met by their teachers. For Key Stage 1, Year 1 and 2, you'll see that the hearts continue over my shoulder, and so we'll ask you to move down that line, and I'll go and show you now where Key Stage 1 are going to line up. When you make it to the end of the line of hearts, you'll see that there are 4 rows going the other way across the playground. This represents each of our Year 1 and Year 2 classes. So you'll leave your Key Stage 1 children here, they'll be met by the teacher, they'll line up, ready to go into the classroom, and then you'll exit through the side gate. Now, at the end of the day, you'll enter through that main gate and line up in the same way, and you'll collect your Year 1 and 2 children from these same lines of love hearts, and their siblings from Year 3, 4, 5 and 6 will have been brought over to join them. For our early years children, we ask that you drop off your older children first and then make your way over to the nursery gate. And you can see the outdoor space is really quite large for our early years provision. So we're going to let nursery and reception parents come into this space and line up. We just ask that you socially distance near the door to your child's classroom, be it nursery, RF or RB, and then the children will be released into your care from their classroom door. Inside the classrooms, things are going to look a little bit different too. For early years and Year 1, because the children are so small and it's quite difficult to socially distance, we're going to maintain the ordinary classroom layout, but the children will have specific spaces to sit and specific carpet spaces which will allow them to socially distance as much as possible. And part of the thinking for keeping things as normal as possible for these children is that actually these are the smallest classes that we have in the school. We're now inside one of our junior classrooms, and each of our Year 2 to Year 6 classrooms are going to be organised in this way from September, with the tables set out in rows, and this is in line with the government guidance so that all children are sat facing forward, facing the screen, with the teacher sat at the front of the room. In line with the government guidance for primary schools, each class will be classed as a bubble. So it means that when they come into school in the morning, as we've just explored, they'll come straight into their classroom and they'll remain in that group with their teacher for the entire day. Now, teachers are still entitled to their planning and preparation time, which equates to half a day a week. So there will be one teacher assigned to the class for that half day, which limits the contact that the children and the adults around school have with each other. Now, we'll look at the toilet arrangements in a moment, but each bubble will be given one set of toilets that will be theirs to use. And what we've managed to do is stagger playtimes and lunch times so that the bubbles within a year group will go out to play at the same time. And that's because we know the transmission rates outside are much lower than they are inside. So the children in the same year group will have contact with each other at playtime and lunchtime, but they will be the only children out in the area at that time. And also, to help us with keeping the bubbles separate, the children will be eating lunch in their classroom. And that's the reason that we're just having packed lunches for the first half term, so that it's a bit easier to manage for the children and for the staff. But as we approach winter, if we still need to keep these measures in place, we will review the risk assessment and look at how we can provide warm lunches for the children again. As you can see, as we go into our toilet areas, if I just turn round, we have soap dispensers on the wall which will be topped up twice a day, and we have posters reminding the children of the importance of hand washing, and we've replaced any hand dryers with paper towels and lidded bins for the paper to be disposed in. And as I said earlier, the toilets will actually be allocated to specific year group bubbles. As I come and look down the corridor, you can see that we have retained our 2 metre markings. And while the government is saying that children don't need to follow the 2 metre distancing, we just want to leave the markers in place as a reminder to encourage children to keep as distant as possible. When the children are playing outside in their year group bubbles, they will have access to particular kit that's safe to use and will only be used by their particular year group. It will be wiped down and cleaned by members of staff after every use to help keep the children safe. Really good hand washing regimes are key to keeping the children and the staff and all of our families safe. So that will be at the core of what we do as we return in September. So there'll be regular hand washing as children come into school, before they move on from activities, before they go out to play, before they have the lunch, when they come back in from play, before they come home at the end of the day. And in addition to that, there will be cleaning stations in every classroom which will have tissues and hand sanitizer that the children can access. Some parents I know have asked whether children can bring in their own. We're absolutely fine with that. Anything that helps our children and families to feel safe at school. The school hall will still be used for dance lessons, 1 class at a time. However, we won't be doing gym lessons in the autumn term, and we also won't be holding assemblies during the autumn term in the hall. So the children will still access assemblies. We'll be recording most of them on Zoom so that the children can access them from their classrooms, and we'll still be holding celebration assemblies. Again, the children will be given their certificates and their achievements will be celebrated in the classroom, but that will be recorded and we'll post it on Seesaw so that parents can join in via that app. I'm here in the dining room, which, as you know, is normally used for breakfast club and our Bosch after school club. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to run either of these activities during the autumn term, and that's simply because if the children are coming into this environment and mixing across year groups, then it's not keeping the bubbles protected that we are creating by keeping the children in their classrooms and isolated from the other pupils. Of course, we will review this at the end of September because we do appreciate how important it is for families to have the wraparound care. Now, equally, as I already said, children will be eating their lunches in their classrooms initially, apart from 1 year group who will access the dining hall. As was the case when some of our children returned earlier in the year, the office will remain closed because we really need to limit access to the school site. However, that doesn't mean that we're not contactable, so of course you can call the school office on 0161 445 6577 or email admin@broadoak.manchester.sch.uk, and we will endeavour to answer any queries and help you out just as quickly as we can. So I'm here now at the end of our driveway because I started by explaining that how your children will access school in the morning. I'm afraid because it's so important in terms of safety, we're going to have to be really strict on timings. So the biggest commitment we need from our families is to stick to the timings that you're asked to attend school. and that will help us to run things smoothly and keep the children safe. If it's a case that you are running late, you will find the gates are closed very shortly after your allocated arrival time, and so if you do arrive and you can't get in, you will need to come round to this main school entrance. You'll notice that we've added hazard tape at 2 metre distances all the way down the fence panelling, and that's so that if you are late you can line up and wait until it's possible to give access to your child to the building. Now, these main school gates will remain closed at all time to vehicles, and so I know some families have on occasions asked if they can drive into the grounds. From September, I'm afraid that is not an option for any of our families. Blue badge holders will be able to park up on the yellow lines outside this main entrance, and there will be a member of staff here to collect your children from you and take them in. Equally, at the end of the day, if you're late collecting your child, we can't allow them to congregate in the building and to risk mixing bubbles, so the children will be brought over and lined up at this main gate waiting your collection. So, I hope that's answered some of your questions and helped you to make sense of the risk assessment. For now, we just hope that you all have a super holiday, and we look forward to welcoming you all back safely in September. Okay, bye bye.